What is going on, listeners? It seems to me like I should not take a victory lap or anything like that at any point, because I don't do anything in this ecosystem other than report to you daily what I find in the news, what's going on. So there's no crown for me, if you will, or anything like that. But I do think it's important to point out when you discover bad actors, when you find bad actors, or when you find behavior that makes you look like a bad actor. And we're going to talk about that. But before we can even get started with that, we've got massive burns happening right now. And it's an unidentified wallet. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. I'm going to break this down for you. Let's go. Okay, so 843 million in burns. This is nothing more than what we told you the other day was happening. It's that part is no big deal. Here's where it gets interesting. Today, we just had another 433 million burned so far today. Again, there could be, there's any number of reasons. We don't know exactly who this is yet, because we go to the Happy Caddy Crypto website, which is the top holders, and we find out that the wallet that did this was number 20 right here, ending in 9CHG. That is an unidentified currently wallet, but it holds 53 billion tokens. So we have reason to assume that this is probably an exchange or a side wallet for an exchange or something like that. But what they did was they made a transfer to a wallet, and then they transferred it back from that wallet back to the original wallet, and they did that over a period of 18 seconds. Here's the transactions as they were going through right now, and then you can see there's just a massive amount of burn that was happening during that period of time, which led to this gigantic burn. Okay, so it was just moving some wallets around, maybe for efficiency, whatever reason. There was a big move, and it burned a lot of supply. Now, if we go on chain and start looking just around Google, stuff like that, then you can see that people are talking about the burns. They're talking about it burning. They're talking about, again, just a burn tracker that's going. So it's nothing really that we're seeing. And then Lunk Dash. So we've actually covered in a very simple term everything so far. So we have no details, no data to tell us why that was done, who that was done by. And, ultimately, hey, keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, bruh. You know what I mean? So would Binance do that burn? I don't think so. I think it's irresponsible of Binance to do that, especially without telling people. I don't think that this is Binance doing it. So I think this might just be somebody out there looking to spark a movement or something like that. Somebody who just happens to be a gigantic holder, a big whale that's accumulated, something like that. So we're going to keep watching that. We're going to pay attention to it. If something changes, if something happens, we will let you know. While we're letting you know, put your username down in terracasino.io. Put your username in the description down below today. We're going to do a giveaway. We're going to give away a couple of $50 rewards. So put your name down below and enjoy the rewards. Hey, did you just get rewarded for Terra Casino? If you did, Terraport.finance is your place to go for trading meme coins and utility coins in the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem. They contribute. They're one of the top burners in this neck of the woods. So in the event that you are interested in helping to burn and buying yourself some tokens, this is a great place for you to go. So make sure you sign up at Terraport.finance. Now, we had an article up that says that the Lunk price pattern signals a potential 14% rally. Where does the 14% rally go? Well, it goes to 407, which I told you was going to be a prohibitive sort of resistance area that we'll probably run into at some point. We didn't get there. Matter of fact, we dumped a little bit because the market just kind of bottomed it just out of nowhere. Now, of course, because there was such a surge in altcoins over the last couple of days and Bitcoin over the last couple of days, and if you've been following me, you know my thesis here. My thesis is altcoins are not going to explode yet because Bitcoin has not had its big surge. Now, Bitcoin went to an all-time high of 124,096, just like I told you, to the exact dollar. Can you believe that? And amazing number. But that was the second time. So now I think that I think that I think Bitcoin is going to go through a short correction, and then we're going to see some real big surges coming in. And my thesis is supported by the M2 money. So this rally right here is not even on hold. Like, I think this rally is going to happen in the short term, but I think it's going to get so much bigger because of those burns, because of all the things that we're starting to just kind of see popping up around the ecosystem. On our meme watch, we got a couple cryptos, DTH, we got FRG, some of these are up 10%, Roddy up 45% over the last couple of days. But I mean, these are low market cap, low liquidity sort of, what we're looking at really is up here at the top. Are we seeing some positive movement there? And as I said before, we're looking at, Terra down 3% on the day, Luna Classic, on the 7-day, but Luna Classic up about 3%. We want to see a little bit more of that, but we'll take it. We'll take a nice little surge there. So we got our eyes on it, and when we see some big movements, it will apply to everything. When we see Luna Classic really start to take off, when we see that real surge that we will get, then all the rest of this ecosystem is going to start to pump. Remember, and guys, when you're talking about pairings, I want to clarify something here. With no trade volume, because the pairing, the heavier pairing, and it's a 50-50 pairing. So if you have like 1 million Terra, you're pairing it to a pool worth the same value as 1 million Luna Classic. So you're basically getting a 50-50 pairing. When Luna Classic goes up 100%, that means that everything in the ecosystem by default during the next trade would go up 50% because it has the heavier quote unquote bag, if you will. So it carries you along. So that rising tide that lifts all boats plays out in these meme coin ecosystems or these utility coin ecosystems. The same thing happens with Ethereum. Now, if people get frustrated, like for example, if somebody gets frustrated with Terra or Juris or something like that, and they want to sell into the pump and flip it over to Terra Luna Classic, then that thesis doesn't play out because that means people are selling on the chart. But generally speaking, when that bigger pairing starts to move, then you get drug along with it. So I would expect to see Lunk having some good moves, and then everything else in this ecosystem having some really aggressive moves, including the Believe meme coin. So make sure you get some today. All right, folks, I want to talk to you about a problem and I want to go back here, and it escapes me whether or not this was, I'm thinking this through. Now, one of the things that I was thinking through was that most of these validators are telling you that in the event that you don't vote, then you are derelict in your duty. And if you're not paying attention and you're not working for the chain, then you are working against the chain, and that you should be obligated to vote every single time. And I don't remember which Happy Caddy Crypto website with YouTube I ended up watching that on a couple months ago, but for the last 90 days, Happy Caddy Crypto has been derelict in his duty. So if you are validating, if you are staking with Happy Caddy Crypto right now, then you are wasting your validation. And by the way, some people who watch Happy Caddy Crypto do come in here and watch me, and they watch begrudgingly because I, unlike him, am still here. I'm still putting out content for you every day. You may not agree with it all the time, but you are curious about what is going on, and I provide you with what's going on. So since I'm providing that for you, I'm going to provide this for you too. If you're still validating with somebody who is derelict in their duty after that person said that if you validate with somebody who is derelict in their duty, then you are not helping the chain, then you, my friends, are not helping the chain. So it is time for you to come home to the validators that care. And by the way, when we bring that up, topically related, AutoStake does not vote. So I am not going to encourage you to validate with AutoStake. But all nodes, they tend to vote. KuCoin, they don't vote either. We're getting a lot of heaviness up at the top of people that don't vote. Lunk Live is a voter every single time. So if you want to validate with somebody and you're of a mind that what Lunk Live does is something that you support, the way that they vote is something you support, that is the first one out here that you should absolutely 100% make sure that you're validating with. And if you're opposed to that, then chances are Jesus is Lord is your location. And guess what? Validate with them too. I mean, that's they're going to vote against. Most likely they're going to vote against Lunk Live, not because they're against each other, but because they have differing philosophies on what's good for the blockchain. It is my impression that Diamond Hands of Lunk Live wants what I want, which is leadership and a path forward. He wants to see a full-on revival. Jesus is Lord wants full decentralization, and he wants things to just stay how they are. But I mean, there's the chart. Show me where it's working. Show me where anything that they've been doing, and they've been controlling this for 3 years now. Show me where it's working. That's all you have to do. Show me where it's working. So it is my opinion that the better choice would be Lunk Live. But you do you, boo-boo. Also, Orion Compound does not vote. So we've got a lot of validators up there at the top that are non-voting. But here's the other part. With all nodes, Orion, KuCoin, and AutoStake, with all of those, with all of that validity, with all of that muscle, if you will, behind this is Binance's buddy, all nodes. This is KuCoin. I mean, with all of this going on, it does beg the question, like, since we're supported, aren't we going to pump? And if you're not seeing that based on just this right here, I don't think that you're paying attention. It is true, by the way, if your thesis is that, you know, we need some kind of impetus and push in the right direction, I would agree with you. If you're not seeing it so far and you're nervous and you're wondering like what's going on, me too. Like we all are. But at the end of the day, here's what matters. The people who are active over here, the people who help you win, those are the ones you want to validate. And if your win is low price action and full decentralization, Jesus is Lord is your place. I mean, it is your place. If you want leadership, if you want some direction, stuff like that, then you need to validate with people who believe that we need some leadership role. I would propose, by the way, I haven't put up any kind of my own proposal, but I would propose that we need some sort of leadership council of some sort that has to be voted on in positions. I would say 5 to 7 people, or 5 to 7 validators, or you know, I think it should be individuals so that the validators don't change who's sitting on a board or anything like that, because I think that dilutes the value of it. But we should have a group. Maybe it's a triumvirate. Maybe it's a group of 3 like it was back in the old days with Ed Kim and Zeradar and what's that other guy? Now I forgot the name. Anyway, maybe a trio, maybe a 5-man panel, but they decide the direction, and then 90 days later we vote, and then maybe the direction changes, or maybe we like the direction and we keep the direction going that way. But I think that should happen. I don't know that there should be a situation in which they have access to maybe sensitive stuff. I'm sure that we need to work on exactly how to do it, but there should be some kind of steering committee that points us in the direction that, you know what, the focus right now should be, if you are a developer, it should be on finding new ways to burn. The focus should be finding new ways to do whatever it is, or new ways to market, something like that. Hey, send me 10 million a month. We'll market. You know what I mean? But the point is, validate with people who support you, who want to build and grow this ecosystem. And by the way, there are people that are out here doing it every day. You've got people like Frag, you've got people like Vegas, you've got all these different people that are out here that do have that capacity, and they will build the chain, they will build on the chain, and they will provide value for what it is that we're doing. So, you know, there is a path forward here. But we just have to do it. We have to vote on it. We have to utilize. No governance going up right now. I did explain to some people how to do how you can do the validating. Go over here, by the way. If you don't like who you're validating with because they're not voting, because they're, you know, like Happy Caddy Crypto, derelict in their duty and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you can come over here for this manual over here, and then you can open up your staking right here, and then you can unstake and go to a place where you do want to stake. And then of course you've got your commissions right here. You can sort by exactly how these are done. You could do it that way. Then you can look at the voting power, and you can vote the same way. You know, just you decide for yourself exactly which one you want, and do it. Now that we're done with that, let's get onto the price action, which is the final point. The market is down $161 billion. No way to cover that one up. We've had a massive dump in the last 24 hours. Dow Jones had a big run. Dow futures look like they're pretty soft. We're getting some weak economic data. I don't know that it's the U.S. market though, really. I mean, if you look at it and you look at, put it on the hourly, then, you know, it's 5 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning when we're seeing this massive sell-off, and that usually means the end of business in the European Union or the Middle East or something like that. So it looks to me like it's just a good amount of profit taking. And by the way, we're at the 0.382 right now. We're not even done. Well, you know what? I guess we should probably set that to the right. If we're going to say that, we should probably put it in the right position. We're a little bit off there. So we bounced hard off of the 382, which to me means most likely we've got some more downside. I would be looking for a breakdown into that 3.85 trillion market cap, which is down another $100 billion on the day before we start seeing the eyes of a reversal right there. Remember, when you're doing this and you're using Fibonacci, this is one of your first real areas where that's a solid bounce zone. And then, of course, this entire zone right here. And then there could be, if you get like a bull trap or a bear trap, then you get a much steeper correction down into the 786 sort of area. So there's levels to where we're going to go. Now, the 382 is the start, but what I would suggest here is most likely a break upwards and then a quick break down a little bit more. And then the same thing as we stair step. Boom, we kind of hit our range here, and then that's when we start to see a reversal. Now, why do I say that there's going to be a reversal? Well, we go back to total money supply. Well, we're going to use total 2 for this one because it's a clean screen here, and I'm going to pull this up for you. This is M2 money supply. Now, we're going to do this on the daily so we see it right, and you can see here, we are still in the realm of a big and massive surge. So whatever we do right now is not going to last, not going to take very long. We are in a market move, and we've got this much more right here in capital that came into the market. So we've got, in my estimation here, up through around the middle to end of September for much more upside action. Now, then we see this little cooling off period, which I'm looking, that's an exciting time right there. That looks like a perfect spot right there to take some profit along the way and to start to readjust your bag just a little bit, because I think that money's going to start coming out. We're going to see this is going to be a massive dip right here. This is going to be, remember what I always tell you, buy on the fear and greed index at 30, buy Bitcoin, and then sell it when it goes back up to 70, and you will make a profit like every single time. I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get down into the 30 here coming up very, very soon. So it's an opportune position for me, I think. So I'm going to look for this big surge. When I see this big surge, I'm not going to be afraid to take profit. I'm not going to be afraid to take profit on this next big surge. What I am going to do though is I'm going to pull and I'm going to get ready, and it's going to be about Bitcoin at that point. I'm going to go back in for a massive Bitcoin rally from 30 to 70, and then I think that's when we, maybe we see altcoin season. Maybe we've already seen the start of altcoin season. So I'm going to be watching for that. Now, the rest of it, looking down the chart, liquidity is being pulled out of everything. So look at your gains over the last couple days, and then look where you are right now. For example, some of these things are up, but things like H-bar, like you had the nice little run right here. Now you've got this sort of sideways correction. It really kind of matches up again with the liquidity flow, right? We're seeing that play out. Aave, kind of the same thing. We're seeing it play out as well. We're seeing, we've got these little moves, these little sparks, but they haven't been able to absolutely maintain themselves. But we're headed back up to that all-time high. So again, not the liquidity rotation that we're looking for right now. We're looking at 20, 30, 50% gains, and we're like, oh yes, finally. But that's just institution. That's just the big money layering themselves in for that big moment where we get that blow off explosive sort of thing. But it starts with Bitcoin. So again, there's levels to it, and I'm gonna bet on this level being one more big rally for Bitcoin. How does that apply to Terra Luna Classic? Well, this does not correlate to what we've seen on the charts. Okay, this does not correlate to money supply. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means that we are reliant on something very, very simple. Ethereum has to run, really run, break all-time highs, get up there, huge pump. We need to see that. Then we need to see Solana, XRP. We need to see all the other alts start to really move, the large cap alts, and then we need that mid cap money. When that mid cap money really starts to flow in, it just hasn't been there. We see it everywhere. When that mid cap money starts to roll in, that's when we're going to see the big move. People are going to start to pay attention and be like, I wonder what's up with Terra Luna Classic. They're going to see what's up, and then they're going to make a move on it. And boom, like I told you before, there's a big 3x kind of sitting right there waiting to play out right now. So, and I do, by the way, acknowledge that there's resistance right here. I'm not saying that we're not going to bounce off of that, reject, and then make a move upwards, and that we're not going to get stuck right there. But ultimately, the move is going to be about a 3x from where we are in very short order. And if we get FOMO, if we get a sense of excitement, if we get a sense here that good things are happening, if we get that feeling, you know, all the feels, then the next move is going to be up into this zone right here, which would probably be this little cap right here, which is going to be 3 zeros 27, by the way. Let's just kind of put a top right there so you can see exactly where I'm talking about. 3 zeros 27 would be the next move after that on the surge. And then from that point, I think that's when we really start to experience that all-time high sort of feeling. So it's coming. We're getting very, very close to it breaking out and happening. So, you know, fingers crossed. Let's see how it works. All right, guys, that's my time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, if you're validating with Happy Caddy Crypto, he's not voting anymore. So if you think that it's important that your vote matters, then you need to validate with somebody who does. But remember also, all nodes, they tip their scale a little bit too much for my liking. And they always... They don't always do their research the right way. We saw that with Terraport a couple months ago. So AutoStake, not, you know, unless AutoStake wants to partner with me, I'm not talking good. You know what I mean? But AutoStake, Orion doesn't do any voting. KuCoin doesn't do any voting. If you want voting, if you want validation that matters to this blockchain, then it is upon you to validate with the people who are actually voting. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right.